Have you ever been ignored by someone and just wondered what to do next? Maybe it's a friend or family member ignoring your texts, or a colleague zoning out in conversations. Well, today I'm going to share exactly what you should do when someone ignores you with 5 tips. Hey, I'm Covey. I work in wealth management at a global bank where I was chosen from the top 0.2% of applicants. Now, my job requires strong people skills to manage relationships with celebrities, entrepreneurs, and CEOs. And so this channel shares my insights to help you handle social situations for a happier and more successful life. The first tip to avoid being ignored is to use what I call the first word trick. Now, I once went for dinner with 4 family members and they were all way older than me. I was the only one who was like 20 and the rest of them were like 50 years old. And throughout this whole meal, I felt really ignored because from the start, I didn't say anything at all. And that meant that as time went on, it felt even harder for me to just jump in. And so I remember after this meal coming up with the first word trick, which is basically about making sure when you're in a conversation with people, don't leave it 5-10 minutes before you say something and try and get that first word in straight away. This will make you immediately noticed in the conversation, so you're just less likely to be ignored. The second tip is to use the mid-sentence pause. One of the most annoying things is when you're speaking to someone face to face and you could just see you don't have their attention. Like, imagine me and you are chatting right now, and as we're talking, I'm just sort of on my phone like this while you're speaking to me. It's so annoying. So if you're speaking to someone and in plain sight, they're literally just ignoring you, all you have to do is pause in between your sentence. And because now it's just gone silent, this will draw their attention back to you. The third tip is to use the spotlight technique. Now, whether you like to admit it or not, we're literally wired to care first about ourselves. But instead, try and focus on giving attention to the other person instead of seeking it yourself. Because if you shine the spotlight on someone else first by giving them a compliment, literally just saying to them something you admire about them, maybe you like their hair or their top, this will make them feel acknowledged and they're more likely to like you, and then they're just not going to ignore you as a result. The fourth tip to avoid being ignored is to mood match. Now, there was a place that I used to work at a few years ago, and when I was new, I really wanted to leave a good first impression on everyone. So in the morning when I walked in, I used to really try and come in with high energy and, say, oh, good morning, how are we doing? How was your evenings? But what I realized is everyone else was tired and they just weren't ready for that level of energy in the morning. And so this just meant I was often ignored in the mornings and people didn't really entertain conversation with me. So what I learned from this, and the takeaway for you, is when you're speaking to someone, take a literal screenshot in your head of the person and specifically on their mood and their tone and try and match that. Like, if you can see that they're really excited and they've got high energy, then you need to try and show that too. And the opposite, just like with me in the mornings, if you can see they're quite low energy and they don't really want to talk, then you need to match that by having, a tone that's maybe a bit more quiet and relaxed. Every mum knows this instinctively. If their baby's crying, the mum's never going to say, "Oi, baby, be quiet." Instead, what do many mums do? They cry with the baby together and they say, "Oh no, yeah, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay." And they cry with the baby. So try and match your mood with the other person's mood to avoid being ignored. Before the final tip, if you want more useful videos like this on your homepage, please subscribe. Also, let me know in the comments which point has resonated most so far. The fifth tip is to use the cutoff trick. Now look, if you've already used some of these tips and still someone is ignoring you, you just need to understand that you need to let them go. Because some people will never want to listen to you. Maybe they're a toxic person, they could be insecure, or maybe they're just not interested. But it's fine. All you got to do is move on to the next person. There's plenty of fish in the sea. And I know sometimes it can be tough to know if you should move on from someone. But there's a method I've started using recently that can help you decide whether you should hold on to certain people or just let them go. So check out this video to find out what it is and how you can use it to have the best people in your life.